The second winning series is a unique sports program that probes into the often controversial world of professional and amateur sports. Sports View Today.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Sports View. I'm Ron Cameron.
And I'm Bob Page. Our sponsors in the program, Al Dietrich Oldsmobile. Where the runway ends, the deals begin as Uncle Al has moved to a new location just east of the Pontiac Airport on M59 in Waterford.
And he also
has
Highland Road.
Thank you, Ron. Yes, Highland Road. And he also has 1.9% financing on selected 1987 Oldsmobile models. As our cameraman Pat Collar, a little shaky from a tough weekend. You know, Pat comes in here, kids hung over, you know, and sometimes the camera just doesn't. Of course, you shatter the glass on this camera, so it's either.
What are you trying to say from
I'm trying to continue with the sponsors.
Of all, you.
Fred Wetzel and the folks at T-Com Pagers, wide state beeper coverage wherever you're watching this show in southeastern or mid-Michigan. Maxie's Main Street in the heart of beautiful, yes, Ron, downtown Royal Oak. Steve Pinto and Company. Sports Fans Journal.
It is going strong. If you'd like to subscribe and yes, read Denny McLean still straight from the jail cell and a whole lot more, we'll tell you how you can do that. Get a pen and paper ready. We'll tell you in just a couple of minutes.
Now, has Lou sent you his check then for what you wrote about him in this last issue of
I
Sports
ripped him
Fans
pretty
Journal?
good. He should be ripped.
Right, but has he subscribed? And sent him
No,
a check
I don't
yet
think
then,
he's
huh?
sent him a check.
And he hadn't talked to you about it yet either,
No,
huh?
he hasn't.
We also have jalapeno pizza and pasta across from the Westland Mall. Cast the Pro-Am Sports Systems.
Now, hold on now. Your commercial.
I'm busy doing the television program.
I'll take charge on this one. If you'd like to see the Red Wings, the Pistons, in addition to the Tigers coming up for that September race, dial this number, 583-7600.
And hear all those tough past commentators tell it like it is all the time, right?
You don't think Northrop tells it like it is?
I don't see them enough to know.
Well, then you better watch and study and shut your mouth.
I have other interests in life.
Yeah, like the dog show.
Right. And we have Zim's Entertainment Center just off I-75 at the Baldwin Road exit. Our guest in the program today, we're going to do the whole show with him, Bill LaJoie, the Tigers general manager, because we have so many topics to discuss. Here he is, his twice-a-year trip to come down and put up with Ron Cameron. Let me ask you first of all about as we take this program Monday morning, about the chances of the ball club to win the American League East. The whole town's excited, everybody's talking about it. You going to do it?
We should win the East. We've been playing excellent ball, better than anyone in baseball for the last 3.5 months. So I believe we're the best team.
Sounds like a prediction to me then,
well,
huh?
It sounds like a good one. You have made a fool out of people like Bob Page and a whole bunch more in the media, and you're gloating a little on that. You, as well you should. Bob Page said this team would be lucky to finish 500. In his words,
I picked them
the
fifth.
stupidity of Bob Page.
Where did you pick them?
I picked them third with 90 wins.
Well,
they're going to exceed that.
One of the rare times
maybe
you might be
a little
right.
bit better than you thought.
They've played at a little better pace, but I thought going into the season that actually during spring training that we were certainly one of the best clubs.
What would you have been happy with coming out of spring training? If they could say, here's a figure, and you'd be happy with this figure as far as wins, what would that have been? Would you have been satisfied with?
96.
Why were you so confident? Did you really believe that the loss of Lance Parrish wouldn't be as significant as it has? Alan Trammell would respond with the season he has and clean up? And
well, that's the thing. The players have the ability, Bob, and it was up to them to put it together. There was no problem with the ability because the club hadn't changed that much since '84, and we did add some players to help us.
All right, what happened then after '84? Team won the World Championship. Next year, were they not as hungry?
I think they became a little complacent. All the attention throughout the year is very difficult for them to handle, plus play the game. I think they just felt that they had reached their goal, and now there wasn't a goal for the next year. So
Sparky said that this is a better team than '84. Do you go along with that?
I think that when he's referring to that, he's thinking about, say, a Bill Madlock instead of Rusty Kuntz or Rod Allen. that kind of thing.
That is definitely a plus.
Well, I think that's what he's referring to.
And yet Rusty Kuntz had a hell of a year for you
they were
guys.
great, but
sure.
I mean, the player came up and left, overachieved, where Bill is more of a steady player and has been over his career.
Overall, lately, in the last 2 or 3 years, the Tiger farm system has taken a beating in the press and from national publications, calling it the worst farm system in baseball. And I don't know, you like to pride yourself on what you do with the minor leagues and things like that. Do you think that criticism was justified?
I feel it was totally unjustified, and the fact that Robinson and Henneman and Noakes, who was a result of a player in our farm system, acquiring him in a trade, same with Darnell Coles. I think that it's very hard to put players onto a championship ball club.
Sparky said another thing, that we may not have to make any changes off this ball club for next year.
Well, that may be to make the players that are here right now feel good.
You feel that
you have to change, there's no question.
And did you learn something by 1984?
By what?
I'm talking about, you did make some changes off the team. If you'd had to do anything different from the 84 to 85 team, what would it have been?
I wouldn't have done anything different, no. I just, that's history, and so I'm not going to go back and say, well, if we'd have done this or that. No,
like morale-wise and things like that.
Oh, I don't have too much control over that. That happens on the field and in the clubhouse.
You've gotten a lot of credit, rightfully so, for making deals, putting these teams together. Is it frustrating as a baseball executive in the 1980s to know you've put together a winning ball club, to pull the right strings, and then see something like we discussed in 85, when the team's a little complacent, they just don't play hard, they don't win?
Yes, it is. It's, you work all winter to put the best team on the field that you can, and when it doesn't happen the way you feel it should, certainly it's frustrating. But you continue on and try to make some more things happen.
You mentioned about Lance Parrish and the fact that the Tigers lost him. Lance has mouthed off a little bit in Philadelphia, yet there are some people that still feel that he'll be a member of the Tigers next season. What would the interest be there if he'd be a free agent to be?
Ron, you know, and look me right in the eye, I can't answer questions like that. And you know that before
There's got to be some roundabout way you can do it.
It's called tampering. Right?
It's called tampering, but I guess, well, let me phrase that a little bit differently. Would Lance Parrish mouthing off and making the comments he did against maybe a little of the organization about Tigers betraying him and about Sparky enter in the decision whether you'd want Lance back?
Those types of things have never bothered me. And I think that Lance, over the past 3 weeks, has said that publicly that he did make a mistake and he wished he hadn't done what he did.
Talking about individual personalities, a guy that we've been critical of, especially Cameron here on this program, for allegedly not putting out, is Lou Whitaker. And for the first time, Bill, I'm beginning to see things like this too. He refuses to dive for ground balls, little things. A ground ball where a guy goes from first to third into the outfield. Lou maybe couldn't make a play, but if he stops the ball, the guy stops at second base. Do you see these things, a lack of hustle in Whitaker?
I think that Lou has played extremely well the last month of the season here, and certain players get criticized for what they do or don't do. Others do the same thing, and you never hear a word about it. And I don't want to get specific right now, but maybe during the winter I would. I think that any criticism this year of our ball players, you could say this guy didn't do this or that guy. Why zero in on one or two players?
But Sparky made the line that, and I thought it was a good line, that Lou Whitaker has Hall of Fame ability, but I don't know that he'll make it.
That comes from perhaps Lou feels that he has to pretty much save himself for the ball games, and maybe his work habits as he gets older are going to have to increase. That is, the time he spends on practice.
Well, the thing is, he also said he wants to play this game a long time. Well, at the rate he's going, he could play till he's 80, I guess.
There's no one that's played harder than Lou Whitaker in the last month.
I've noticed an improvement in it.
You don't go into Yankee Stadium, get on base 10 or 12 times in a row and score all the runs he did in a tough
And he's second in the league in runs scored.
That's right.
Why won't he dive for ground balls?
Why don't you ask me why Alan Trammell doesn't dive for ground balls?
I've seen Tram do that.
No, you haven't. In 10 years, you have not seen Trammell dive for more than a handful of balls.
Trying to think of the handful I saw Lou dive.
And that's not
for
a criticism on either player. I think that just pointing out, don't zero in on one person.
Do you feel, Bill, that you mentioned you think you can win the East? What do you think? Do you feel right now the American League East is the best division in baseball? I still feel it is. I know it's not maybe not as strong as it was a year or two ago, but I think with some of the younger players and overall, I think from top to bottom, I think it's the strongest division in baseball.
It is, because top 3 teams have won more games than any other. And you figure Milwaukee is in 4th place, where in another division they would be a leader.
You know, we're going back and forth a little on this, I know, but the Tiger farm system and some of the criticism it's got. What does the future hold? What about some of these players that could be playing at Tiger Stadium in the not-too-distant future?
You mean the names?
Yeah.
You have an outfielder at Toledo that I like a lot, Scott Lusader. He has to tighten up on some of his work habits also. But Ray Palacios can be a good second catcher, maybe a first catcher on some clubs. There's a pitcher or two there, Steve Searcy's been injured most of the year, but he's a good prospect. And I think that on the AA level, there are some hitters. Strange has first-string potential, a third baseman. He's up at Toledo now.
Curtis Strange, isn't it?
Well, it's Doug. I call him Joe.
Curtis Strange is a golfer.
That's close enough.
He's an athlete, right?
He's an athlete, yeah. So you
and on
feel
the A clubs, you have several players that should mature and get up to
3-4 years down. Anybody that can make an impact in '88 in your mind?
I don't look for an impact player out of that group, no.
Bill LaJoie, the Tiger general manager, is here on Sports View today, and we'll continue with him right after this.
The eyes of the world are upon us. Our mission, crush the enemy before they crush us. Like America, Uncle Al will come through for you, crushing prices on Oldsmobiles and GMC trucks. Say hello, America. Sayonara Imports. Tanks, but no tanks to imports.
Visit Uncle Al's giant new dealership on M59 just east of the Pontiac Airport. Where the runway ends, the deals begin.
Jalapeno Pete's is a great place to eat.
Hi, 2 for non-smoking, please.
Right this way.
Wow, look at all this food. A 2-pound wet burrito, a 16-ounce porterhouse, and there's pasta, too.
But did you see the daily specials?
What a deal for $6.25.
See, didn't I tell you Jalapeno Pete's and Pasta's a great place to eat?
Jalapeno Pizza and Pasta on Cohen Road across from Westland Mall.
I'm sorry, she's out of the office for the day and there's no way to contact her.
With a pager from TCOM, you could contact her anytime.
I know it's an emergency, but it's out of the building now. May I call you later?
With Motorola pagers from TCOM, you can deal with emergencies now.
I'm sorry, our delivery man is on call right now. We won't be able to help you till tomorrow.
Hi, my name is Fred Wetzel with TCOM Paging. If these problems seem familiar to you, then you need a TCOM pager. You'd be surprised how affordable they are. Probably wonder how you've done without one. Give us a call at 559-6826.
Zim's, just off I-75 between the Silverdome and Pine Knob, is rapidly becoming one of southeastern Michigan's premier entertainment centers. Whether it's bowling, video games, and Zim's huge arcade, or outdoor sports, Zim's boasts 2 of the finest softball facilities going, available for your league or tournament. And even if you don't play at Zim's, you can play after the game at Club Zim's. Drink specials nightly, live entertainment, and dancing.
Hi, I'm Joe Zimmer. I'd like to invite each and every one of you to come out and see us at Zim's, Spirits and Eatery, our bowling center, and our new softball facility. Look forward to seeing you.
We're back on Sports View talking with Tigers general manager Bill LaJoie and talking about the Tigers in '87 and after that and all that stuff. This ball club right now, Bill, as is it in your mind the best team in baseball?
Well, personnel-wise, there may be some better teams, but I don't believe there are teams that can play better together.
That's the thing that I've mentioned in the paper and on this show, that I said the characters there. You've got a lot of character players. You went out and got a couple players that were considered bad apples in the clubhouse, so like a Madlock, who's really taken charge here more or less as a leader. Yet people I've talked to in other towns, and well, good riddance to bad rubbish when he left there. And Doral Alexander, who was just called by, I think it was Hank Peters in the Republic.
One of the worst human beings he's ever met in his life. The worst, yeah.
The worst, the most miserable human being he's ever been around. And yet you did that. You went out and got those players. Does Sparky make a difference in the clubhouse, getting these guys to think like a team?
He certainly has the control and the respect of the players. And when they come here, they know, here's your rules, here's how you go about conducting yourself, and that's it. So,
in Alexander, you gave up what we understand is a very promising pitching prospect, this kid from Lansing, John Smoltz. And yet people talked about the Tigers all year and said one of the reasons they're doing so well is they've got such an outstanding pitching staff. Why did you feel the need for the extra starter?
There's something that come about during the course of this year where the fourth and fifth starter were very inconsistent. Now you can get away with one or the other, but we felt we had to solidify the fourth spot and then let the two players, whichever one is pitching the best, Petrie, Robinson, go to the 5 spot.
Now, what's wrong with Dan Petrie?
Dan showed exceptional, well, I'd say he showed the ability in spring training to have a good season. And then when the season started, he's having difficulty repeating his pitches, which means if he throws a good slider, he can't come back with it. And for whatever reason, now in spring training, he did that. And so how do you correct it or what the problem is? You just keep working and let him throw and go in relief and so on.
Do you feel he has the stuff to come back to be a big winner in the big leagues?
He has as good a stuff as he needs to be, maybe a 12, 15 game winner.
You tried to trade him for Brooke Jacoby earlier this season. The Indians didn't go for it. Petrie's a free agent after this season, isn't he? Will you attempt to re-sign him, and then will you attempt to trade him?
Those are things that will be decided after the season. Depends on where we finish and who does what, because you can't discount the last month of the season. And as far as trading Dan Petrie, I talked to several clubs about him and other players, but there was never a deal where I said, I will give you this player for that player. That did not come about this year.
Do you feel that Dan Petrie has value?
His value to the Detroit Ball Club, yes.
What about the other teams?
Well, that's something that they would have to determine.
But I mean, you have an idea what's going on. You would think you could get a starting player for Dan Petrie?
No.
Not the way he's pitching now. You said a minute ago, for whatever reason, he couldn't do this. What do you think, Bill? Is it psychological? What?
He needs to see a hypnotist, doesn't he, just to give him the confidence and something like that? You can win in this league.
Dan's won in the past, and it's just something where, as I said, he's not repeating his pitches, and until he can do that...
Is it confidence, inner confidence in him, though?
I don't know. If we knew the answer, Ron, we'd have it figured out.
Get a hypnotist right in there and talk.
All right, another player who totally lost his confidence, and you just recently gave up on him, is Darnell Coles. What was that story?
Well, just as you say, you don't know what goes on in a young man's mind. Darnell Coles, to me, is a very talented, intelligent young man. For some reason or another, something happened to him this spring where maybe he thought it would be easy. He did some things over the winter that weren't good for him, and that is he started lifting weights, and he got too big in the upper part of his body. It just was a thing we couldn't go along with him anymore. He either had to go to the minor leagues or to another club.
Why wouldn't you
stay here?
Didn't want to send him to the minor leagues?
Well, you run into some other problems there, and I felt as long as the player's in the major league team, he has greater value than if he's in the minor leagues.
You mentioned working with weights. That's an interesting subject because I think that you can do it too much, and I don't think today that you see the arms in the outfield, for that matter on the mound too, although I don't necessarily think that's all weight. And maybe in the outfield, you don't have the real good throwers in the outfield anymore, I don't think. Not consistently like you did see 20, 30 years ago. Do you go along with that?
I think that we tend to look at the players that do not throw well and take that as something that's greater than it is. I think Chester Lemon throws very well. Sheridan throws very well just on our own ball club. I think that John Grubb, despite his age and so on, still throws the ball ahead of the base.
You don't have the Calavitos, the K-lines, or people like that throwing.
Well, here, you're talking about, now just a minute, you mentioned two guys over maybe a 35-year period.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, the Roberto Clementis and people like that. I don't think you still have the guys that throw. And do you think they can hurt a player working out with weights too much?
All right, I'll just go at you quick here. Winfield's
got a good arm.
Dwight Evans.
Evans has got an arm.
Evans.
Keep going.
Okay, now you name three.
Barfield's got a good arm.
Okay. Now it's three.
It's three right there.
But I'm saying outstanding.
So you shot on down again, didn't you,
No, I don't
Bill?
think that Winfield could throw with Calavito. I don't think any of them can come close to Calavito.
Well, now you're talking about arm strength. Winfield throws out more runners than Calavito, and I don't even
because they run on him. They wouldn't run on Calavito.
Oh. Yeah.
I think you and Mr. LaJoie have a disagreement.
Maybe.
And if I had to choose...
He was 6 years old when Calavito was playing.
I wish I could say that.
He was 6 years old. He covered Calavito when he broke in. Are you kidding me? He's got you totally buffaloed.
Go on to the break.
A misguided Bill LaJoie is here on Sports View today, and we'll continue with him after we set him straight about Cameron's age right after these messages.
Hi, it's me again. In the past, you've heard a number of people give reasons why they come to Maxie's. Maybe you're not yet convinced. Let's ask a few more.
I come to Maxie's for the fine selection of wine, the great pickles, and the owner, Steve Pinto, owes me $14.50.
I come to Maxie's because the food is great. The hors d'oeuvres, sensational. It doesn't cost a lot of bread. And most important of all, Steve, the owner, is buying.
For the selection of fine wines, of course. Mainly I come to Maxie's because Ron Cameron doesn't come here.
Of course, there are other reasons why you should be coming to Maxie's. On Sunday nights, we feature the Maxie Jam with some of the best rock and rollers this area has to offer. Every Tuesday and Saturday, we have classics on video with Elmar. Of course, we always have our outdoor cafe open for your fun and enjoyment. And one day, Bill Sparks might show up.
You just saw a commercial for Senior Citizens Night at Maxie's Main Street. With
Steve Pinto's not that old.
The rest of them are old. You and Tom Ryan and Nick Arema, you've all been on radio for at least 25 years. I was a kid growing up listening to all three of you guys, but let's talk about something that's really got some class. Sports Fans Journal.
If you do say so yourself,
If
right?
I do say so
and
myself,
it's the only
it is going strong like you wouldn't believe. Denny McClain is still writing from his jail cell. Now, if you want to subscribe to this paper, here is what you do. You send a $15 check or money order for a year's subscription. Make it payable to the paper, Sports Fans Journal, and send to Sports Fans Journal.
That makes sense.
P.O. Box 12170, Birmingham, Michigan 48012. Now, here are who the writers are that advertise or that contribute each month and that are writing exclusively for this
lower
paper.
themselves.
George Kell, Ernie Harwell, Mike Downey, Eli Zaret, Don Cherry, Dick Vitale, George Allen, Bob Feller, and a whole bunch more for you. Nationally, Jim Harbaugh, the Chicago Bears quarterback, has got a nice column he's going to write each month for the paper, as is such local personalities as Sonny Elliott, Ray Lane, Jim Northrup, Lem Barney, and a whole bunch more. And if you'd like to stop by your local newsstand, bookstore, Tiger Stadium souvenir stand to pick up Sports Fans Journal, do so. Or you can call this number for more information because it's a heck of a paper, good, hard-hitting sports. No stats and box scores. Call 350-3530 for Sports Fans Journal.
And we're back on Sports View today, and our guest is Tiger General Manager Bill LaJoie. We talked about some of the criticism of the organization earlier as regards the farm system, and I want to mention one thing, by the way. I know you were defending the farm system's record, but I saw a little bit, I think it was in USA Today a couple days ago. They ranked the major league clubs by number of big league players produced, and the Tigers are right about at the bottom. So there has been a lot of criticism of that. Dodgers are first, yeah. Tigers are just about at the bottom.
Well, in defense of that, let me just say this, though. In the last 5 years, the Tigers have the best record of any team in baseball, so they haven't had to make those changes.
Dodgers have a pretty good record, too.
Not in the last 5 years. Yeah, look at this year. Look at last year.
But anyway, I want to talk about something else that Tigers are criticized for, and that is the way they market or promote their product in the ballpark, or the way they don't market it. Some people say that there's not a whole lot of entertainment there. They won't let current music be played. The attendance has been down a little bit this year. Jim Campbell's concerned about that. And some people think the Tigers need to step it up. Get with it.
That's something that maybe the same people that said we'd be 5th or 7th this year.
Like Bob Page.
I didn't say 7th. I did say 5th.
You said lucky to be 500. But that has been brought to me by several people, though, still, Bill, that maybe the marketing is just a little weak. For example, at Tiger Stadium on the corner of Michigan and Trumbull, there's nowhere to people to park, and one guy, I guess, came from out of town and had his car stolen because he had to park a block or two away to go pick up tickets. Couldn't something like that be handled to help the people coming down to get advance tickets a little more?
Advance tickets are very easy to get.
But I mean, if they're coming down to get...
by telephone and use your credit card.
Well, just in general, Bill, though, are you marketing the product properly?
Well, that's something that I have my job to do, and perhaps someone else is in that area. And I'm in charge of players and.
That's enough. You got enough headaches in that area.
To me, we're down a little bit in attendance, but that's understandable due to the start we had.
New stadium, is it going to come? Do we need one?
There's it seems a drive underway every couple months to get a new ballpark.
Coleman's now coming aboard, and
it would be nice to have a park similar to, say, Kansas City or Dodger Stadium. Whether that's going to come about will certainly be, financial undertaking of that matter has to involve a lot of high-ranking people.
I want to talk about duties as general manager and how more difficult, is it becoming more difficult to be a general manager of a ball club each year because of the contracts and these slim, well, whatever word you want to use them, agents?
Well, I would say it's more frustrating, but isn't necessarily a harder job, because there are...
What do you enjoy most about your job and least about being a general manager of the Tigers?
The thing I like the most is to judge the players correctly, and then have them have a type of season that they're having this year when other people didn't think that would happen.
And
in other words, as Jack Morris said in a new magazine I was reading, that the front office was right, they won out again. In other words, the caliber of the players we judged correctly, and the players are performing up to their ability.
And the least to what you like as general manager of the Tigers?
I'm not sure if there's anything I like least about it, because I put in a tremendous number of hours. So if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be there.
We'll close it out with Tiger GM Bill LaJoie after this final timeout.
In just 2.5 years, Dugan's Irish Pub has become one of the hottest spots on the North Woodward Strip. Come on inside and I'll tell you why. You start out with a famous Big Chief burger, an institution in Royal Oak since 1954. Dugan's has the cheapest drinks in Metro Detroit, specials every night, not to mention the best-looking waitresses serving those drinks. We've got oldies on the jukebox all the time, in a great casual atmosphere to meet your friends. So come on out to Dugan's on Woodward, just north of 13 Mile, and have a bite of nostalgia.
The hardest thing about coming to the Brass Bed and Leather Gallery is making up your mind. We have over 150 brass beds, iron beds, day beds with trundles, sofas, sectionals, office chairs, all under one roof. When you come in here, you don't see catalogs. You see the actual piece on display. That's real important. You see it, you feel it, you touch it, you take it home with you. We deliver it to you. We carry quality pieces, name brands only, at low, low discount prices. We're open 7 days a week. Please come and see us.
The 1987 Major League Baseball season is in full swing. And now, you can track every team all summer long by tuning to The Pennant Chase on PATS. Join host Larry Osterman each week as he takes a look at the Majors divisional races, the American League and National League Players of the Week, as well as exclusive up-close interviews with the game's biggest stars. To stay up to date with all the happenings in and around the world of baseball, join us every week for The Pennant Chase on Michigan's cable home of the Tigers, PATS.
Tell a friend about Detroit. We have for 90 years.
Closing it out quickly with Tigers general manager Bill LaJoie. Is a ball lively and all this scuffing the ball and all that stuff? What's your opinion on what's going on in baseball today?
There are more home runs because there are more high pitches being hit.
Ray Herbert made a nice comment on my radio show. He said that the pitchers seem like they're experimenting in the big leagues instead of just going right at the hitters. You go and then they make the mistakes. Is that right?
There's a lot more breaking balls that they get behind. Now they've got to come in with a fastball, and there it goes.
Yeah. Well, why are they up with the pitches? You say they're more high pitches.
Well, now you're 3-1. You're just trying to get it in the area of the strike zone.
So it's not the baseball's lively or anything
no,
like that?
I don't believe so.
What about scuffing the baseball, the Negro and Grossens? Is there more of that these days?
That's gone on for years. It was in the minor leagues 30 years ago when I played. I don't think it's any more prevalent. They're just, this is what's picking it out
The
now.
media, in fact, jumping all over it.
Sure.
And pitching, is it as awful as they say in general in baseball today?
I would say that it's not as good as it could be.
Bill LaJoie, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. I want to thank our sponsors as well. PASS, the Pro-Am Sports Systems, Joe Zimmer and the folks out at Zim's, Jalapeno Pizza and Pasta, Sports Fans Journal, Maxie's Main Street, Fred Wetzel and the folks at T-Com Pages, and of course Al Dietrich Olsenfield. You can hear Ron Cameron on the radio, WCAR 1090 Wednesday afternoon, 4 to 5. My radio show runs every morning on WRAF, the home of rock and roll, 630, 730, and 830, 101.1 FM. Thanks to Bill LaJoie. Thank you for joining us in this edition of Sports View today.
Bye-bye, everybody.